Welcome back everyone to our how to make an inventory sub-series. So in the last episode we created our inventory, set it up, and now we have pickaxes showing in it. So today what I'm going to do to get started is just to kind of test out if this actually does work. So I'm going to copy this and say add it again, and then you know what, I'll do it one more time. So now we should have 3 pickaxes that generate next to each other in our inventory once we open it. So spawned in, open it, and we've got 3 pickaxes. Yep, so that's all working perfectly. And now what I will do is, let's see. We still need a remove function, but at the moment we also need a way that actually collects our blocks and put it in our inventory. But at the same time, what we actually need to set up is something else for our slot, which is that number, that little number that pops up on your inventory, which says how much of that item you're storing, like that you have. So I'm going to drag and drop my slot in here. I need to put it in my UI position for now, just so we can sort of see it. And I'll put the position as X and Y as well. That's all good. And now, so that's what our slot looks like in our inventory, right? We should have a little number that pops up just on the bottom here. So to do that, what I'm going to do is underneath this slot, I'm going to right click and say UI text. So that's, sorry, let me do that again. Right click, and this will bring up the sort of create menu, and then you can go to UI text. And this is where our text is going to pop up like that. And I'm just going to say amount for this probably. So here, for example, I'll just put 5 just as a test number, or even just 0 will do. And then the width and height, I should make the same. So width, I'll say about 60. Height, I'll say about 60 as well. Here, I want this to be in the very center. Align by geometry, best fit will do. And I want this to be fully white as well. It'll disappear, but actually, you know what? Let's turn off best fit. And then this, I want it to be here. So how does that look now? Does that work? So it pops up here. So it should actually be about here, which means width and height is that pos x should be 30 and minus 30. How does that look? Is that okay? It's also a bit small. How's best fit? That's too big. Let's do that. And I also want this to be bold just to make it look a little bit better. There's not much we can do to make this look really nice. Height, I might do 30. And then let's bring this back to here. Yeah, I think that's fine. That's fine. We'll do that. Okay. So yeah, just set that up however you want your UI to look, and then make sure you go under slot and say overrides, apply all. So that applies to the prefab. And you know what? One last thing to change is actually this. This should all be 1, 1, 1, and then apply all again. And now we can delete that from there. Nice. So if we play that now, you'll see that everything has that sort of number there, and that's not very useful. So the number is actually going to be int quantity. But if int quantity is 0, then obviously don't show it. If it's also 1, then if it's 1, maybe we should show it. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, so in our update user interface function, what we're saying here is this. That is okay. What I should do is copy this. So select both of these, Control C, Enter, Control V, and this is saying to get child 0. So the first child is the image. The second child, which is in the first index, is the text. So get component text is equal to. So if it's equal to null, then we're just going to text equals 0. I can't. Wait, I'm in the US language. Whoa, my keyboard somehow switched. I must have typed the shortcut for it. Anyway, 0, just like that. And then get component text dot enabled equals false. Copy those. Put that underneath here. I don't need this. Text is now not going to equal that. Enable is going to equal true. Text is going to equal this dot item dot quantity. Inventory slots dot that dot quantity. Yes. int toString. Yes, so dot toString. Yes, okay. And now that should work. So let me press play and let's see how that works. Yay! Very nice. Cool. So now we can have it so when we break tiles, we can add them to our inventory is going to be something to do next. So how shall we do this, for example? Our tile drop controller, it's saying if it's the player, then destroy it. But before we destroy it, we actually want to, see how he wrote this ages ago? Add to the player's inventory. That's what we're going to do now. And then delete the tile drop. So to add it to the player's inventory, what we actually have to do is find a way to store the tile class on our tile drop. Or rather, the item class on our tile drop. So, what I'm going to do is have a public item class. Can I say that? Item? Yep. And then I'm going to add, so if I say col.getComponent inventory, so this is the inventory on the player, .add, and this is going to add item class item, which is going to be literally our item, then do that. Except we're not setting this anywhere, so what we should do is actually set this value once we remove the tile from our terrain. So if I go back to our terrain generation script now, which is somewhere. Here we go. So remove tile from world, does that, that's fine. Where is it? No, we want the remove tile function, which is here. There we go. So once we generate our new tile drop, this, instantiate that, what I have to do is say item class new item, tile drop item actually is probably what I should say, equals new item class, and then this is going to take in tile. There we go. Yes, that's how we set that up. Yeah. All right, cool. So item class equals this, yes. So now I can say new tile drop dot get component, and our component is tile drop controller dot tile, dot item equals tile drop item. That one there. Cool. And now let's just fix up one thing in our item class. I have too many scripts open, that's why they're not all showing. Makes sense. Okay, let's open up our item class script. There we go. And so here, we have these, we're not actually using them yet. So tool type and item type. So our tool class, so where's our tool class? Is that open by any chance? No, it's not. Let's open up our tool class. I've had many issues today with Unity. I mean, initially it took like 15 minutes to load this, but anyway. So public tool class, tool type is what I'm going to say. Is that right? Or is it tool type? Wait, where's our... Here. That one. So yeah, item class dot tool type is what it has to be. So public item class dot tool type, and then we're going to set that in the inspector. So then in our item class, we're going to set the value of these to be something unique. And basically, first it's going to say if it's if we use a tile class to put construct this, then obviously our item type is going to equal item type dot block, because obviously we use the tile class. If we use the tool class, then it's going to be item type dot tool. In which case we also have to set the tool type. So tool type is going to, sorry, wrong one. Tool type, that one is going to equal tool type. It's going to equal underscore tool dot tool type, like that. And I believe that should be okay. Let's set up a couple things in Unity before we run this. So let's clear our console first. Let's go to our tools. Our stone pickaxe is now going to have this. So we can choose from here if it's a pickaxe, axe, or hammer. So pickaxe obviously is what it is. And I think that should be okay. Let's press play and let's see how adding stuff to our inventory works. So I open it, we have 3 pickaxes. Yep, I break that, pick it up, and you can see that we have now a block of wood in our inventory. If I break another one though, that will go in a separate slot. So how can we determine if it's the same type of if it's the exact same item. So in our inventory script, when we add it, well, at the moment we're checking if that one is null, then add it. Otherwise, if it's not null, then if the one at that slot, so if that slot equals our item, this give me an error. Inventory slot and item class are because dot item. Yes. So if they're the same, then we just wanna, rather than creating a new one, I just wanna say inventory slots x, y dot quantity plus equals 1. Technically, we should be able to break a block, add it to our inventory into the next available slot. And then if we break the same block again, it should just pile up. And I know this is gonna work because I'm an absolute genius. So I break it, pick it up, boom, wood. Break it again. Why? Alright, so we're gonna do some... Sorry, let me introduce you guys back normally. Welcome back, guys. I figured out the problem. Okay, so let's get straight into it. I'm gonna create a public void. In fact, public bool. And then this should be contains. So this bool here, this function is gonna return, that nailed it. Return true if our inventory currently contains an item class item. So if it contains it, then return true, and it should also return a position. In fact, let's do that. So return vector to int, and it's going to return the position of this item in its in the array. If it doesn't have that, obviously it's going to return null. So let's say return null. Vector to int times -1. What am I doing? .1 times -1. Okay, so yeah, let's do that. So that's our null value, so it's going to be -1, -1, which obviously is out of bounds, which is good. And now we're just going to copy this bit here, paste that there. We don't need bool added, we don't need this bit here. And then let's just close these brackets off. Like that. Cool. And now what we have to do is essentially just check if inventory slots xy dot item is equal to item. So if it's equal to item, that means it does contain it. So we're just going to return new vector to int xy, just like that. And then after we've done all, so if it equals item, return at that point, so it'll break the loop completely. It'll just end this function. Otherwise, it will keep looping, find that it doesn't contain anything, it will return this value, which is good. So then, before we do this, I'm literally just gonna say at the start here, I'm gonna say if contains, so if contains item is not equal to vector to int dot 1 times -1, which means it contains it. So then we're going to say inventory slots, and here we're going to say contains item dot, you know what, maybe I should do this. I'll say vector to int item pos is equal to contains item. And this just means I'm not calling this function each time, because each time we call this, it's doing a loop, and that's not very productive. So then we're going to say itempos.x, itempos.y, dot quantity plus equals 1. And yes. And then if it doesn't contain it, else, then we're going to do this bit. So select from there, shift, select the bottom one, down here, Control X, delete this useless line there, paste that inside here, and then we can get rid of this else statement here. And yes, so it would be nice to have like a cap on the inventory, so like how many items you can stack. Should we do that now? Maybe we should. Okay, so we'll say bool added equals false at the top. Get rid of this, just like that. And then I can just say if not added, and then here I can do this, added equals true, just like that. So if it hasn't been added yet, then we're gonna do this bit here. Why did that not work? Okay, no, it did work. All right, so we're gonna do this bit here. And the other thing we should do is say, so we should have a inventory sort of like slot limit is probably a good way to do it. So let's do that in our inventory. I might just make that 64, just like Minecraft does. So public int stack limit equals 64. Go down, and then here I'm just gonna say if the quantity is less than stack limit, then obviously we're gonna do this. This needs a curly brace, and this also needs a curly brace. Do that, and then it's gonna do this bit. Okay, so that should make sense, and that should hopefully work for us. I'm gonna hit play. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna go cry, and then I'll be back. We have spawned in our world, and we have a null reference. Always good to see. It's saying inventory slots dot item equals item. Why is it running that now? Yes, obviously we have to check if this is not null first. So we should say if inventory slots x, y is not equal to null. Or I could just say if it is existing, but that's fine. There we go. And that should get rid of that null reference. Okay, no more null reference. We have those. That's good. Break that. It's in my inventory. Break another one. It didn't work. Interesting. So this public void should actually be a public bool. Add. And then it's going to do this. And then it's going to return added. And then that doesn't matter in these situations, but for example, in our item drop controller, we can just say, maybe I can just say this: if this, then destroy this game object. Oh, wrong button. There we go. And then I'm just gonna get rid of that. So it's gonna perform the action of trying to add it, then it's gonna return a bool, and then if that bool returns true, then destroy it, which means if our inventory is full, we can't collect more tiles. They don't disappear from the world magically. However, that does not fix our issue of our inventory not working. What does I say? Item.sprite equals item.sprite. So we're comparing their pictures rather than their whole class. Okay, there we go, guys. We can properly add stuff into our terrain now, into our inventory. Yay! This should equal 8. Yay! If you guys remember, our player actually has 2 trigger colliders on it. Well, it has one. It has a trigger collider here, not there. Which one? Here. So this one detects if it's on the ground. Which is good, it works, but the issue is if a tile we break touches this one here, and then touches this one here, then it casts that sort of enter twice. What we actually should do is put this on its own layer, that second one. So I'm gonna select this, say copy component. Underneath my player, I'm just gonna say create empty, and I'm gonna call this ground check. And then I'm gonna make this of tag nothing, actually. That should be fine. Yeah, that should be fine. But I am gonna right click and say paste component as new. That'll give me this green sort of capsule collider here. And then in here, I can just say this, remove component, right click, remove component, right? It'll still look like I have 2, but one of them is actually down here. Now, that's going to stop our ground check code from working because this is trying to check for ground, but obviously that can't happen. So what we actually have to do is create a new C# script, and I'm going to call this ground check. What we should do is probably check ground with a raycast, but I'm not going to do that because that's a bit more complicated. In fact, it might be simpler, but this way is probably the most iconic way of checking for ground easily. So let's stick with this for now. We don't need this. And then you want to head to your player controller script and really quick scroll up to the top. And then here, select these 2 functions, the onTrigger enter, onTrigger stay. Cut those from there. Go to your ground check script, paste them in. And then onGround obviously doesn't exist. So we just have to say transform.parent.getComponent player controller dot onGround equals true. Copy that line, head down here, and then set this to false. Cool. And then if we head into Unity, that should fix up our tile collection issues as well. So I can actually fly. Why am I so dumb? There we go. Okay, so with the ground check script now, that should work. I can't believe I forgot to add that. Like, I am so small brain. What? Alright guys, so I figured out the issue. I did some debugging. We don't actually need to do this anymore. We don't need to do this anymore. You know what? Let's keep those. So yeah, add these if you want, these lines. They're not very useful, this onGround boolean, I mean. It doesn't do much apart from just help you see here if it's true. The only thing I did was literally just remove the rigid body, and now it seems to work. So that's pretty much collecting tiles done, really. It works pretty well. I press play, there we go. So I've spawned in my world. We have to fix the pickaxes and stuff still, that's one issue. But yeah, breaking these all work. Breaking these all works. The other thing we have to still finish off is actually removing the back wall, because at the moment, since it's checking for the sprite, the back wall obviously has the same sprite. So, you know, makes sense for it to pile up with the same sprites, you know, but we don't want to do that. We want the wall to be a separate tile, preferably. We can do something, for example, if you hold shift and place a block, it like goes to the background, but I'm not very keen on that idea. I'd rather just have it so you have wall tiles and then back wall tiles and whatnot. I think it will just work a lot better. But yeah, that's something to worry about later. I'm hungry, I'm gonna have my lunch. I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching this one, guys, and peace.